So, in the name of the Most High, I ask you to give me clearness in the words that I speak. I ask you, Most High, to put the thoughts in my mind that you want me to think. And I ask you to put the words in my mouth that you want me to speak. I ask that your word be conveyed and the truth be conveyed. I ask you, Most High, because you have all power. You have all power. You have all power. And irrespite my sins and my shortcomings, I'm a believer. And I ask you in your holy name to hear my prayer. Amen. 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 In conclusion, to the conversation spoken about, I'll start off at 1501 Fulton Street. I and my wife resided under Roy and Wedderburn. I stayed in a little room. This room was maybe the size of not even a kitchen. To my knowledge, I think we paid $168, 160 something, 160 something. It started off initially as a week. So, at this time I was married. I found my beautiful wife in college, And despite all of the things that was done, like, God blessed me because God knows my heart. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not perfect, And I'm definitely not perfect when I'm not given an environment to be perfect and an environment to change in. But that's, may the Most High name be praised. Me and my wife got to 1501 Fulton Street. We resided under Roy and Wedderburn. And can't remember, it was about a year. During this time, this game continued, violation of 18 USC 241, this conspiracy against rights, going into my personal environments that me and my wife live in and giving people my confidential personal information. I and my wife, we suffered a lot, Like, I never had nothing, Anybody that knows me know, like, I never had nothing. I was always the poor, outcasted black sheep. Like, that's just what it was. Like, but I tried because I heard God's word and I heard God's calling. So I met a beautiful woman. I got married at this time. 24 years old, I got married. And during this time period, I got my first room. All we did was just endure a lot of problems, like constant, problems in our home, people continuously creating issues for us, and we didn't talk to anybody. I used to go to work during this time period. I used to work at Universal Survey Center. I used to work as doing telecommunications, whatever, basically telemarketing, and I was at the same time also working for I can't remember if it was Applebee's or if it was TGI Fridays. That was the way that I was to try to maintain, and in the sidelines it would be, try to sell some incense, I bake a cake, whatever. I was never given a blueprint to how to be a husband, how to be a man, how to be a father. I don't know how to do this. I'm going off of my heart, and what's in my heart, what I want to be, what I'm determined to be. So during this time period, the Most High should have blessed me, blessed these words to come out clearer, even with all of the pain in my heart and the trauma, because Most High, you got all the power to make all truth be known. And I just ask you, because you got the power of everything. That's why I don't fear nothing. I go against all of the gates of all of these demons of hell because I know they can't prevail against me. But the trauma still hurt. But during this time period, came into my home and me and my wife resided. In a created environment me and my wife couldn't live. We couldn't live. It's constant harassment. I was trying to just get myself together. Inevitably, my little room ended up getting rushed. I was beat up. and ticket to the precinct. And afterwards, I was let go. I was told it was all a misunderstanding. I just kept going through a lot of stuff in that environment. Inevitably, it was like an infestation of like termites or something or whatever it was, bed bugs, whatever. It was biting my wife up, and I had to go. We couldn't live there, so I and my wife, we moved under the same landlord to another location. At this time, we were residing somewhere in Schenectady Avenue, somewhere in Brooklyn. And it was a building that Roy and Wedderburn owns that has like an arcade kind of symbol on it. And it was the same thing. There was a couple that we lived next door to named Tanya and Jack. There was just always a constant problem. The lady screaming in my face, "I got your jail records. I got your papers. I know about you." All I used to do is, at this time, I really was not even working. Me and my wife, we would sell water to make it, And because I can remember this, it was Ramadan. So me and my wife used to be out in the sun. And I remember this summer in particular was like a heat wave. And me and my wife was like the only ones out there, like with crystal in our skin. Like we sweated that much just selling water because just trying to survive. Trying to be what God wants you to be and not what people try to limit you to. So we kept on persevering. And inevitably there was a situation that happened where it was some guy that came around. There was some pit bull. He had a gun on him. Not him, Jack imprinted the gun on him. It was the guy, Jack, that was his cousin. And he had this pit bull. They started rushing towards me. He rushed me as I'm backing up and trying to run because, they got guns and pit bulls. And like, I don't even know what the situation really is about. I leave, I try to run, I try to get surface. And by the time that I even figure out what was going on or try to get a clear understanding on things, call the police. I didn't have no phone at this time. If I had a phone, then maybe I could have, but anyway, it wouldn't have really done anything anyway, right? Inevitably, my wife ended up getting in a fight with the girls while I was having issues with this Jack and his cousin or whatever, nephew, whatever that guy is to him, probably his nephew. I just know they're related. And during this time period, my wife was attacked by these 3 women. Inevitably, my wife was taken to jail. She was arrested and taken to jail. My wife didn't even have no clothes. Like she barely even had an outfit on. Like this situation was a provoked situation. We never did anything to these people. I don't know them. This is all, of course, consequence of a violation of 42 USC 2000 H-1. You giving people from jail my information in the streets. It was a time period when I was growing up, when I had an issue, when I was locked up. And I had an issue with a person in there. I had a fight with some guy, and y'all used the same guy information. I gave him my information as to where me and my family resided at. And he went around and conversed with people, and then y'all created this whole string of people. That'll be clarified and broken and spoken into later on. But that's not the point of that. But initially, that was the situation. And then from there, me and my wife, we moved. From there, me and my wife moved to 109 East 96th Street. Same thing, same problem. During this time period, people was giving our information. People in the neighborhood was giving my personal information in violation of 5 USC 552A. And people was given illegal rights or illegal rights to stalk me in violation of 18 USC 2261. And it's not like they're stalking me for a good purpose. It's not like they want to give me a raise or promote me or put me down with some team or anything. They running around to get my personal information so they could create covens of people so they can spew my information and create an environment where I can be harmed, killed, and I won't even know why. Like, I could just be praying 5 times a day, trying to get my life right with all my trauma and my heartache, and I could just get harmed and I don't even know why. Me and my wife resided in this time period. All we had was consistent problems. And, that's like a part of, again, the documentation, the complaint with gang stalking. This is a part of what gang stalking is. By creating covens of people, you create covens to where people can find scapegoats, where a person can say, why everywhere you go you have a problem? But clearly, no, people know that you're having a problem because they're going into an environment, creating the environment in a way in which you can have a problem. I and my wife don't talk to anybody. We were never known as that. We're not party animals, drunkards or druggers, or we don't hang out. Just used to go to work and just try. You know, I was working. It was one job. I was just trying to be a real man. I was trying to get a blueprint of things that I never saw. That was what I was trying to do. And during that time period, there were situations that happened, and basically every resident that would move in the house would always have a problem with us. And it was the same issues that had happened previously before under the same landlord. Inevitably, there was a guy named Malik Phillips. Now, to say if he broke in my room, I don't know. I wasn't present. From what he told me, the landlord actually broke in my room, but I wasn't there to say. Inevitably, I don't know how my room was broken into or what happened. And at this time, I didn't file any police reports to my knowledge or call the police because I don't even, I remember, I don't remember. I think I remember I don't know. I don't want to speak on that but all I can remember is that I was told before I had called the police up because this guy had pulled a gun on me in the household I live in. And I was told by the officers that if I called the police again, me and him would be arrested. So that was the situation. My home was broken into. I had a cat, Osiris, and I had a cat, Princess. And I never got back my cat, Osiris. I found my cat, Princess, but I never found my other cat. My cat is gone. And I had that cat since it was a baby. People could laugh, but you think it's nothing when you never had nothing. A lot of little things mean a lot to you. You think it's nothing, but when you the cast out, you'll be surprised that was that. It is what it is, but it is what it is. And I put out flyers at the ASPCA. I went and did everything that I could do. Me and my wife went and we got pictures printed of our cat, and we got it posted up in the neighborhood. I never got my cat back. And during the same time period, coincidentally, when my home was broken into, I also lost my job maybe like roughly within a week after, just coincidentally. The same job, inevitably, I ended up having to take to court. And had I known that this was going on, maybe it would have been in more depth and more understanding because, I don't know how far the limitations and what was going on. So I don't really know. But all I know is that I was just acting in accordance to what was going on. I used to work at Trader Joe's, and that I was dealing with this thing because me and my wife was going to be evicted. Though I had the money, I was still trying to save money in order to move because I realized that the environment that me and my wife was living in was not conducive for us. During this time period, I went downstairs, a whole transaction happened and a whole issue happened in which it was stated I tried to I tried to harm people and all of this other stuff. And basically somebody went to the job, went to everybody and said, hey, I was told this by people that worked at the company, that they went to everybody and said, who has anything bad to say about Javante? Just write it up and put it on paper. If anybody checks the records, I went from in Trader Joe's getting a raise 2 weeks before that, and 2 weeks later, I was getting fired. It didn't make any sense. It didn't make any sense. And this coincidentally happened at the same time that my home was being broken into. Inevitably, after my home was broken into, that was the last signal I needed to know to take my money that I had saved up, and I was contemplating. I don't know whether I know I want to move, but if last result, because, if you converse with Roy and Wedderburn to this day, he calls me Mr. Miller because I'm a man that always paid him. Me and my wife always paid him his rent. We was out there selling incense on the train, selling water out in the hot sun, not even eating, not having nothing, starving, looking like bums and looking homeless every day. But we was paying our rent, and we was going home to a room where we was being harassed at and picked on every single day. And my home got broken into, and that's the truth by the Most High. My home was broken into, and the environment that I was living in was made corrupted in violation of 5 USC 552A and 18 USC 2261. Because if you send people into my environment in which I live in, stalking me to find out my personal information, and then you use that personal information and do God knows what. I don't know. I'm not in your coven, but I could look at the signs of what's going on. I could see my home broken into. I could see everywhere that I go in the environment, any neighborhood I go into, that I'm never treated with respect. I'm never given an opportunity as a person that could change. That I'm always perceived under some notion where everybody feels like they have the personal right to mistreat me within every neighborhood. And I realize that it's become so much in my life that people have tried to traditionalize it, and that's called narcissism. And it had to take me to be in my 30s to realize what narcissistic abuse is about. Back to the story. I and my wife left 1501 Fulton Street because we took this as the last sign. Like, we had prior incidents, all kind of prior incidents, from threats to people with guns to all of that. I didn't have no help, What could I do? Like, I called the police up, but the police told me if I called them again, that they would arrest me. And if I called anybody that I knew to try to help me, listen, I had me and I had God and my patience, and that's all I had to resolve the issue, because I wanted to actually be a husband in my husband in my wife's life. Like, I want to be. I don't know what it looked like, but I know I don't want the bad way. I went through mad bad. I'm mad traumatized. I don't want that. I know I wanted the right way. Inevitably, I and my wife moved. We left from 1501 Fulton Street. We realized that the environment wasn't conducive to our marriage, and it wasn't safe. During this time period, I and my wife, we moved to reside with a friend of my wife's family. And within about a 6-month time period, everything was going right. And within a 6-month time period, there was a lady that reached out to my wife. And basically, she was in a hospital, and she said that something to the effect of she was lighting a candle or some sort of, Janelle, what did that lady say about what she set on fire, about what?
Fire?
The fire, how she got set on fire. How did she, that thing?
Oh, she said that she liked to light a cigarette, and the thing she said, she had a match, and she liked to out the match, and for some reason she got caught on fire.
So the lady had a match, and she went to go light somebody's cigarette. And after she lit the cigarette, in some way, that one match combusted on her back and set her on fire. This is what the lady said. My wife is a sweet person. My wife has a good heart, and may El Shaddai bless her, and may El Elyon bless her, bless her forever. Like, the last thing my grandmother said before she died was, take care of your wife, take care of your wife. I try to, even through all the trauma, like all of this, I try. God knows the truth. While we was residing there, she asked my wife to come and bring her newspaper up. She was at the hospital, and she didn't have any relatives or anyone to help her. And, I was kind of skeptical because I just thought it was strange. I was saying, she's all the way in Midtown Manhattan. I don't have no problem in helping anybody, but it's just something that's a little eyebrow raising when you think that somebody who's upset or sick or something will call you to come bring them a newspaper, and you're sick in a hospital. I'm sure that there's somebody out of courtesy that would do that. But then nonetheless, my overview was like, maybe she don't got no family. She just wants somebody to be there with her. So it was like, whatever. And my wife went there. She brought the lady a newspaper. She talked to her, treated her like, a person should treat another person. And I don't know where, out of within a week or 2 weeks, she was living in the same place as us. Like, it's me and my wife, and now we're homeless, living in somebody's house. We're trying to just seek shelter so I can figure out the next move of what I'm going to do to try to help me and my family. And then you find a way to illegally infiltrate where I live at, just because my wife helped you, my wife didn't say that we want to come home and pop up and you're in the same living room as us tomorrow. You're eating in the same kitchen. You see, that's harassment, and that's violation of 18 USC 2261. That's like your lowest. It's like you're already broken my home, all right? You already create an environment where you're telling me I can't change, I can't be a better person, and you destroying me. You got me at rock bottom, and now I got this one last resort, this last one place that I could go and try to like do something for me and my wife and get myself together. And you know what you do at this time period? You try to find a way that's deceptive for using the fact that my wife is being godly. And you know it's not going to be no punishment to her. The scriptures talk about this because you know what? She was being righteous to you. She was doing what a righteous person should do. She tried to help you. She tried to do what was right by you. And you came and you infiltrated our home. And then within the next 2 months, we was having problems within the environment we was living in. You sending people that's going from the mosque to where I'm at, conversing with people in the neighborhood about my name, going over again, recreating the same problem that you just created before, creating a coven on the block that I live in my neighborhood. How do you find a way to mix a YO status with NYPD suspicionless spying with the court? Like, that's just abusing somebody. That's just taking advantage because you can and you have the power too. But may the power of God shows that power to God is more powerful than any power that anybody think they got. I believe in the Most High. Like I can't beat y'all. I can't take you on with weapons, but I'm gonna pray and I'm gonna leave it in the Most High hands because the Most High know my heart. You know, I don't seek revenge about none of the wrong that was done for me. Y'all know that. Like I ain't trying to harm nobody. My intent is not to do that. My intent was never to bring y'all downfall. I'm too concerned with trying to rise to bring y'all downfall. That would spend too much time out of my life. Right now it's clarification. It's clarification time. So then within a time period, the person we were staying with told her that she had to leave. So she left. But issues didn't stop in that area. Some of the same people that are in violation of 18 USC 2261 that are finding ways to follow me from mosques that are intertwining like counter-terror. I don't even know what kind of hustles they got going on just destroying people's lives like this. I don't even know. In the name of the Most High, I don't even know the devilishment and the diabolical thinking that goes into trying to stop people from becoming a better person that goes on. But, you know, may the Most High be praised. May the Most High be praised. So this person ended up leaving, but the problems didn't stop. Soon after that, I ended up losing that job. So I think I was working for Applebee's at this time, and I ended up losing that job. I went and found a job canvassing for some politician or some political drive, doing some canvassing. And I never got my check, you know. I talked with them, I conversed, they told me, oh, the check would be here in a certain time period. And when the time period came, and it was about, I think, 2 months later during that deadline, there was no money there. And, you know, it was what it was. I and my wife from then had to transition into the shelter because that's just the environment that was created. From there, I and my wife went into El Camino in Queens. We only stayed there for roughly about a couple days. I don't even know if it was 10 days or less. And during this time period, there was a young man that came to me. I knew him from years ago. You know, I was locked up as a kid. I was a very traumatized, hurt, messed up kid. You know, like those things are not to get gotten into, and those things because that's not has no relevance of what I'm speaking of at the moment, even though it does. I was a very traumatized kid, like messed up. I went through a lot of stuff and things that I just pray that El Shaddai, the Most High, just stop all of these games that these people is doing illegally, because I don't really want to go into all of that, because I have an understanding that when the whole story is told, that like It's the it's I wanna, yeah, I've done enough. And I will become stronger, and I will heal from all the things I've done. So in the name of the Most High. So and I'll become stronger. From there, I and my wife went into El Camino, and I seen this kid. When I had met him, I was in Rikers Island. His name was Muhammad. And all of this is like in violation of 18 USC 2261 under I think NYDC or NYCD Special Unit Rikers Island, running a game from jail to the streets. That's creating a pipeline. That's creating a pipeline in which you're almost guaranteeing that I will be incarcerated. I'll be put back in this game because you're not leaving me no way to change. I'm trying to be better, but you bringing devils into my life. I'm not bringing the devils into my life. You are systematically bringing negativity in my life. So he comes within the shelter. I see him. I sit at the table, give him some acknowledgement. How you doing? How's everything? Give him salam, give salams. My brother asked me if I want to be in a black secret organization or start a black secret organization. I looked at him like no, I didn't come in here to start a secret black organization. I came here to take care of my wife and to be a man, and to learn to be one and grow and develop into one. I didn't come in here for all of that. Black empowerment don't start with creating groups and stuff. Black empowerment starts with empowering yourself and becoming a better person. All empowerment starts from yourself. I don't need to do all of that. That's not the war. The biggest war is not outside of you. I know that the biggest war is within. That's the secret. So I looked at him like he was crazy. I was like, nah, I'm all right. I think I'm good. I'm just gonna, I'm doing my own thing. Like I abruptly left the table. Like I ain't sitting around this crazy. Get up and then keep it pushing. This person named Muhammad he's the son of the guy that's cited in the paperwork. Terrorists are here in NYC and plotting mayhem by Thomas Zambito. His face was on the front of the paper until the paperwork came in, and then all the paperwork that was in the newspaper and his picture, it all just erased. Now you have to go through the archives and try to get the front page and see the front page. It used to just be on the internet for over about, last time I calculated, it was about over 10 years. When paperwork came in, it's no longer there. From there, I and my wife went into Tav residence. Tav 2287 University Avenue. A quick side note. The letter Tav in Hebrew equals 400. It has equivalent. In Hebrew, every letter equals a number. So Tav is the equivalent to 400. All right, to the story, right? I and my wife got to 2287 University Avenue, Tav residence. And during this time period, there were people brought all the way back from when I was 19 years old. When I got out the program, a guy by the name of Jason P. I don't know if his name was Jason Prater, Jason what, but his name was Jason P. He resided with me in a drug program that I was in, and all of it is cited. It was the same thing in violation of 18 USC 2261. During the time period that I knew Jason, me and Jason were never friends. I was in a program that was helping me get myself together. I was in a drug program. And though people called it alternative to drugs, like alternative to jail, for me, it wasn't. I think that program, and none of this paperwork was put in to talk bad. That program helped me. And I think first off, the Most High for bringing me in there. Because from being in there, I was able to get discipline and I was able to get therapy. You know what I'm saying? I was able to get someone to actually sit in there and do actual therapy, find out what was going on in my life, what was going on in my head, get me some real help. Get me off of all of those drugs, people lacing your weed all in the hood, thinking it's funny, playing this game, giving you dust in your weed and messing your head up. You ain't got nobody there to help you. You young and just in the streets, caught up, getting all kind of like just messed up. It gave me a chance to get my head clear, get myself together. It gave me a chance to get up out of all of these ghettos and get somewhere in. And I thank the Most High for that experience. And I thank that program. I honestly do. I honestly thank that program because, like, it helped me. I can't speak for everybody, but it helped me. It got the point across. It brought the point of what God was trying to bring for that time period home, and I got the point, and I thank the Most High for it. Unfortunately, you know, again, this all goes back to the 13th Amendment. You know, slavery ended, but within like 100-year time period, the United States ended up becoming the world's largest prison industrial complex because just because slavery ended doesn't mean people that benefited from pro-slavery interest, they stopped being interested. They were still interested in making money, you know. And I do understand and take into account we live in a system that is built upon capitalism. It is based upon a fluctuation of the dollar bill. And sometimes that can take a real ugly face and course. Even in the temples of God, it just doesn't go on. It goes on everywhere. And I do understand that. So I understand that in the same, I guess you say, in the same building there's the devil, there's also there's an angel there too. You know, there's an angel on your right and there's a devil on your left, I guess, if you can look at it in that concept. So it was a good program, but unfortunately the devil of the situation is that there was people that left out of this program, and that for 18 years they left coming from Long Island to New York City, going and creating covens in the city, going into the mosques and into communities that I lived in and into environments that I live in, and creating covens of people to sabotage my life. So how does that process go of sabotaging your life? People go around systematically using cell phones and finding out people's personal information, talking people's information. You'll go in a corner store, people will buy chips and walk in there and be like, yo, you know this guy? Yo, he be robbing everybody. Yo, look, if he come in here, yo, just hit me. I got him. And then, you know, like everywhere I said, you got the God, you got the devil, right? You got the angel, you got the demon, right? You got great cops out here to do a great job and risk their life every day to make this world a better place. But you got cops out there that make side hustles, that got fiends and people in the streets that go out there that get them their quotas every month. And that's just how this thing go out here. And this all ties back into the 13th Amendment and how you can create an environment that creates pro-slavery interest without having chains and chains on people's hands and people's feet. Doesn't mean that an environment of a slavocracy cannot be created. It's just more diabolical in its essence. So that's what happens. They create covens of people who just go around with my personal information and just defame my character. Go into stores and people in my neighborhood and tell a person all my personal information to my life. Tell them the worst about my life. And they create covens of people that just hate me, like similar to what happened at Trader Joe's, you know? And this is